mentioned earlier about the shallow concept. Let's go in and talk a little bit more about that. Shallow concept. Now, first thing, what is a concept? What's the difference between a play and a concept? A concept is the philosophy of a play. So with the shallow concept, we want to have one receiver running a 3-yard shallow. We want to have another receiver coming from the opposite side of the field running about a 10-yard dig or an in route. Okay, so that's the concept. We want to have an under and an over route. We're going to go under the linebackers and then over the linebackers and kind of pick on them a little bit. Depending on where they drop to, one of those two routes should be open. So understanding that concept and teaching the kids that concept, then you have the plays that are specific. So whether we tag who's running the shallow, so it's the tailback shallow, it's the fullback shallow, it's the Z shallow, the X shallow, the Y shallow. So we can have whoever runs it, but the guys know that, wow, if the Y is running the shallow, that means the tailback must have the dig, or whoever on the left side of the formation must have the dig or cross route. It's a nice, easy throw. The underneath route, the shallow route, is a 3-yard route. We have a dig that's about 10 yards that should be right over the middle of the field. So if our linebackers drop a little bit, then we should have a nice 10-yard throw, which I think a typical 6th, 7th, 8th grader can throw. It's a very easy read progression to teach to the quarterback. And again, the player that is running the shallow route is tagged. So the quarterback reads are simple. Number one, always look for uncovered. If there's an uncovered receiver, we throw to that guy first. The next is the shallow. We're going to look at the shallow route. Okay, where's the shallow coming in from? More importantly, where's it going to and what's open on that side of the field? The second is the dig. The dig takes a little bit longer to open up, so that's why it's our second read. If both of those are not throwable, either they're covered, kid falls down, then I have my release, which is my shoot to the side of the dig by the back coming out of the backfield. I'll put that on a picture right now. So here we go. Here we have our double slot tailback shallow. We said that we're tagging the tailback as the shallow. So his aiming point is the heels of the defensive lineman, and he wants to get it no deeper than about 3 yards, working his way across the field. Now here we are running it with a tight end in. Okay, we can bring the tight end out here, or we can keep him in a traditional 3-point stance. So again, you can do this, integrate this concept right into some of your traditional I-Pro or other offensive formations you're using currently with your team. So now the tailback is our number one read. He's going to run the shallow at 3 yards deep, climbing, and hopefully should be getting the ball right in this his zone area right here. The Y, or whoever has the dig, wants to influence the outside shoulder of the defender on it. And the reason why we want to influence the outside shoulder is so that hopefully that defender will turn his back to the quarterback and follow the tight end up or the dig route upfield. By doing that, that opens up. He's not going to see the shallow coming behind him across the field. So that allows us, if we see green grass here from our quarterback, we know we got a nice easy pass right here. By setting the Z on a go route or a post or a dig or just a clear route, that's going to open up this whole grass area right here for a nice easy 3, well, if he's quarterback's underneath, it takes a 5-step drop, about a 5 to 6 yard pass. It's very nice and easy over the D tackle for a nice completion. If we said our reads are shallow, dig, shoot, if these two guys get jammed up, we now have our fullback checking for blitz, and if he doesn't, he slips right into the flat, and we've got a nice 3 to 5 yard throw from our quarterback. The nice part about the X will have a post backside or a clearing route as well. And most likely the linebacker, if they're playing man, will go with the shallow, so now that opens up this backside. Let's take a look at this with another receiver. Now we're going the same formation, but now we got the X running it. So again, we mentioned earlier, if we tag the X running the shallow, so the shallow's coming from the left, we still need the dig from the right. That's the concept of the shallow play. So we now have our X. Our X is going to cut the split in a little bit. Still getting no more than 3 yards deep. Again, we're really picking on these backers here. The backer's going to drop for the dig, or they're going to jump the shallow, which then opens up the dig underneath the safeties. So my number one read is the shallow. The dig route, outside release, and stem the outside shoulder of the man on. That's going to open up the shallow coming from the backside. 10 yards, plant, and come across the center of the field. Z will have a clearing route. The tailback now has to switch with the X, and they're going to run a clearing route as well, maybe a skinny post, a go route, or even a corner route. Again, most likely we will not be throwing to either one of these unless our pre-snap read says, hey, we've got man-to-man, we've got a great matchup here, let's go in and take a shot at a deep ball. But the average, again, now we go back to our principle, we're 20 yards deep, probably not a high percentage of completion. I'd rather put my odds on this completion or this one and then this one being made. Again, fullback is in the flat, 3 to 4 yards, making sure there's no pressure coming from the backside, and the quarterback can now release it if these two routes get jammed up. Now we come back. Shallow's coming from the right now because we're in double slot, Z shallow. So now our Z has the shallow route, so it's coming from the right side of the formation. So now we have to know that our tailback, knowing the concept, he now runs the dig because it's coming from the opposite side. 3 yards deep by our Z here. Our tailback is at 10 yards. Our Y now, because the Z is running it, they replace the responsibility. He's now going to run a clearing route, skinny post, a go. Our Z may cut his split down a little bit so it times up properly, and that's one thing that, you know, these concepts, these plays are great on paper, but you really have to tweak them a little bit based on your splits, based on the speed of, I should say this, you have to adjust your splits based on the speed of your athletes and the throwing ability of your quarterback. There's no need having a big wide split if it doesn't time up right and the quarterback's ready to throw it and the dig is only on this hash. We really want to have it over the center when it opens up. So if our guys can't get to that set center point, then we need to cut our split down a little bit. If our receivers can't get to here, middle of the field, by the time that quarterback's ready to go through his progression, then we cut our split down a little bit. If our kid's getting there too fast and getting across here before a quarterback is in his drops, then we need to widen them out a little bit more. So, you know, just adjust these concepts, these principles based on the speed and obviously the throwing ability. If your quarterback can't throw it at 10, well, make it at 8. Okay, make it an 8-yard dig. We'll still be able to pick on those linebackers a little bit. Okay, so now here we have it coming from the shallow concept coming from the right.